And we are live. Guys, welcome to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast, YouTube edition. Like I told you, I'm broadcasting live on YouTube, much to my chagrin. I will never forgive Facebook, but enough of that. I have a great guest tonight. She's one of my favorite guests. This lady is tough, and she does it all. She's a kayak fisherman. I have a lot of respect for kayak fishermen. I'm afraid of kayaks, guys. I just call me whatever nasty name you want to call me. I'm afraid of kayaks. But anyways, Pam is not afraid of kayaks. Not at all. Man, this lady does it all. Tell them, you have gone after sail fishing kayaks, haven't you?
Yes, I have, out of Pompano. And that's a lot of fun. That's probably my all-time favorite fish to catch is a sailfish out of the kayak.
How far out do you have to go?
We're in about anywhere from about 65 to 250 feet of water. But in Pompano, it's a Gulf Stream, so you can get out there in a couple miles. It's like Navarra.
Okay.
They've caught a sailfish off the pier of Navarra because you can go 2 miles and be in 65 feet of water in Navarra, which is in the panhandle of Florida.
The pier. That amazes me, the pier.
Yeah. It's so much fun. I'm sorry?
My buddy Cajun Rob Welsh, another podcaster, he co-angler corner. He just says, wow, sailfish, fishing out of a kayak. Rob is new to kayak fishing, so he can't believe that either.
What area is Rob in?
Rob is in southern Kentucky, real close to Tennessee.
Okay. Sorry, Rob. That's a long way away, right? Invite you down.
He fishes a lot of bass tournaments out of kayaks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop you for a minute since you talked about bass. Did you hear about the angler out of California, that kayak angler that passed on last weekend during a bass tournament? I don't know exactly what happened, but we have Memorial Day weekend coming up. And please, if I say nothing else, please, have your life jacket there, be brightly colored, let people know that you're around, and assume the other guy is intoxicated, that he's not going to stop for you, and have a plan to get out of his way. So, okay, that's all my preaching for the day.
No, I wouldn't even call that preaching. That's good information, man. Yes. Always wear your kayak, always wear your life vest, always wear your life vest. Guys, I have been involved in a boating accident at work. We flipped the boat over and I had on an inflatable life vest, and I was trapped in the cabin of that boat. I got out, I was able to swim underneath the gunnel with that inflatable life vest on. I didn't even realize I had it on. There was just so much adrenaline, but it happens that fast.
Yep.
And what do? I just remember thinking, all right, how am I going to get myself out of this one?
Yeah.
How am I going to get myself out of this one?
And also in the coastal states, CCA, the Star Tournament starts this weekend. So
nice.
it runs all summer, which is a super cool tournament. So hopefully everybody signed up for that. They have a lot of different divisions. You don't have to have the biggest fish. The winners are all drawn by lottery. So obviously the more fish you have in there, the better chance you have of winning. And if you do happen to catch a tagged redfish, you could win a boat and trailer.
Tagged redfish. And there are tagged redfish in each state, right? Are correct?
Right. Each state has, each coastal state has their own CCA. Obviously, I belong to the one in Florida.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that.
Still here. Who's your buddy in back of you?
Oh, let me get a close up. That's my first mate. She goes on the kayak with me a lot. That's Oshi. Hi, Oshi. She's a 25-pound doodle. Her mom's a miniature golden doodle, and her dad's a miniature labradoodle.
So this is your fishing partner. You take this dog on the kayak with you.
Yes, I do. Not all the time. There's certain areas I won't take her. Like if I'm fishing Swanee, the mouth of Swanee, they have alligators that are bigger than my kayak. So, there's another spot over in St. Augustine called Guana, which is known for their big trout. And if you look on my Facebook page, you can see that 29-inch trout that I just caught there. I don't take Oshi there either because there's alligators, and dogs are number one on an alligators hit list of hors d'oeuvres.
Absolutely. A 25-pound animal, that's lunch for a 10-pound gator. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's great. She's really calm right now. I don't know why. Hi, Oosh. But she was so funny. As you know, you and I were chatting a minute ago, and right before we went live, she jumped up and went, "Hey, if you're going to do this interview, you're going to do it with me too." But redfish, what's your favorite? What's your favorite lure for redfish? And to be honest, the only time I ever use bait is when I go offshore. It's the only time I use bait. Every other time I'm using lures.
You know, I really like matrix shad.
Okay.
This is not my favorite color in my soft plastics saltwater bag. it's out in my truck. But you know, this thing, and you know something about this? This is how it's rigged. You know,
It almost looks like the Z-Man
backwards. The Z-Man?
I said that almost looks like the Z-Man eye.
What did you say?
I said it almost looks like the Z-Man eye, that hook. My new favorite.
Yeah, this is.
Go ahead.
Is what? Show me.
My new favorite
What's your new
is,
favorite?
okay, I don't drink the Kool-Aid, and I'm not sponsored by them,
Okay.
but it's the new, whoa, let me get that on there. Wrong way. There we go.
Yeah.
Live bait. This is the 4-inch K-tail. Okay, K-tail. That's the only bait of theirs that I truly love. And I've caught monster snook, big reds. I caught, it didn't fit on my board. And my board is 32 inches, 33 inches. Redfish the other day. I just love it. It's a great. And what you pair it with is the BKK hooks. Here we go. The BKK hooks. It has a really wide gap to it. And I don't know if you can see. Yeah, weighted.
Yeah,
it has a little flash to it on the hook attached. So have you seen like the minnows? If you're looking in especially darker water, you can kind of see them with their tails slightly flash. Well, that's what it looked like. I got a couple really nice reds on it. Two big snook hit it. Unfortunately, I missed both of them at the boat, but it's one of those days. Hey, one of those days you can't win them all. I had a blast. I fished with the guys last weekend, the Southern Bait Company guys, and we fished a charity tournament, and I ended up 6th, but it was a slam. I didn't get my trout, but they have a cool wake bait. Wait till you see this wake bait. Check this out. Is that not gorgeous? I can't wait. I can't wait to throw that. That's going to be so much fun. I'm headed to the elite tournament in New Orleans next weekend. So hush. I can't wait to try that out. That's going to be fun. Do you have a favorite topwater?
Topwater. Actually, I like the Zero Spook.
What color?
A little smaller one. Bone.
I use he's upside down. He's upside down. I use the Spook Junior. Sorry guys. I know you guys are gonna laugh at me. Yeah, crazy old lady. This is in chrome, bone and chrome, and it's my favorite. Unless I'm in like the what?
That's a good color.
It's awesome. It's awesome. If you're in milky water, if you're in clear water, I will change and use the skitter walker if I'm in tainted water that has a lot of pine tree type stuff in it where it's kind of orangey. I'll use a skitter walker with the orange bottom on it. That kills like in Swanee and Stanachi.
There are guys who fish Grand Isle. I love to fish this area called Grand Isle, and I fish it 90% of the time from the shore because we catch bigger trout from the shore. But that's just in the cold water, the cold weather months. But there is a guy who uses nothing but the Zero Puppy. That is his only lure he will use, the puppy. And I mean, this guy, I swear to God, this guy can do a figure 8 while walking the dog. He is that
That's
good. I
cool.
have never seen anybody. I mean, he can cast out 150 feet, and that thing is just perfect. I do that, and it's going. I can
I
cast
like
about
Grand
six.
Isle. I like Grand Isle. I've been there a bunch of times. That's where the IFA had their championship. And it's big redfish. I go for the bulls. Ride the Bull is in the, what is it, August, September, somewhere in there. So I look forward to that. I think Native sponsors it, and I definitely am going to go this year.
Do you fish you fish Caminata? Some of the biggest redfish I've ever caught have been on the bottom and Caminata Pass. Because I know you don't like fishing bait, so, and that's
Well,
what I primarily use in that deep water.
when I was there, I don't fish at the Bayside Bridge. I go to the end of the
Sure.
island, okay, and go out there,
Okay.
and I'll use a gulp grub on a jig head, and I have a 47-inch redfish on it.
A gulp grub?
Yeah, the 6-inch
like-
gulp grub.
Oh, a
6
6-inch
inch.
grub. Okay.
Yeah, and on like a 3/4. Yeah, on about a 3/4 ounce jig head, and just keep bouncing it down the bottom till you find the school.
I can't imagine. And then, boom. That's going to take you on a Louisiana boat ride.
It is. It's a sleigh ride, my friend. But the adrenaline rush is amazing. Oh, it's so much fun. Are you kidding? Especially like when there's an area near the kind of like the fort or the lighthouse, and then there's a couple channel markers that the redfish will just hang around. The big redfish will hang around out there. I've had so much luck there. Where I don't have luck is where they have Ride the Bull, which is at Bayside. And for some reason, I cannot catch a bull red there to save my freaking life. I am 0-2 there. Excuse me?
So you call somebody. So you hooked into that huge redfish, and you call somebody and they came and measured it for you?
No. I had a big board at the time. IFA had a big 45-inch board that you could use. So I made the board to fit their measuring device. No, it wasn't Ride the Bull. Ride the Bull, what they do, they're associated with CCA in Louisiana. And what they do is they'll have a help boat. You call in, and the help boat will come out there and help release your fish, take measurements, and tag it, and then release it. And the whole thing is, 99.9% of the tournaments I fish are all, I call them CPR, catch, photograph, and release. Because, I don't understand the concept of killing a fish for a tournament.
Yeah, I get that. That's.
And I'm going to get hate mail on that. Sorry, guys. It's just, I fish so much that if I kept everything I caught, it would be crazy.
But you caught the fish, it's your decision.
Exactly.
That's my opinion. If you catch the fish, it's your decision.
I agree. If you're a weekend warrior and you're out there having a good time and you want to do a barbecue afterwards, that's cool. But if you have a tournament season where you're fishing every other weekend and you have 100 kayaks and 200 boats and it's a kill tournament, that's a lot of carnage. I love the fact that like the Florida Redfish Series, the Elite Series, both of them are the Redfish Series is catch and release. The Elite Series is you have to bring them back alive, and there's a big, big penalty for a fish that you bring in that isn't alive. And again, it helps conservation. It helps keep the stock. I just think it's a great idea, and I applaud both tournaments for, that angle.
Something else, guys, I'd like to talk to Pam about. Last year, you went up to and you fished northern Lake St. Clair, didn't you? Canadian side.
I fished the Canadian side. I don't know if you want to call it northern. We fished almost directly across from Detroit.
Yes.
We were almost directly across from Detroit. And that's the first time I ever went for smallies. I mean, my standard joke is freshwater is for drinking and saltwater is for fishing. So that was my first, exactly. That was my first attempt, and I had a blast. The
I bet you
people,
did.
the international people that are there are so friendly. Everybody wants everybody to do well. So if you're not doing well, they're going to turn around and give you tips. Hey, try this, try that, try that.
During a tournament?
Yes.
Wow.
That
That
the
is
world
cool.
tournament, that one and the Falling Tide that the Bayou Club puts on are
Sure.
two of the friendliest tournaments I have ever fished in my life. In the Bayou Club, which was at that time a qualifier for Hobie, they had a guy that went up there and told you how to catch flounder. He was their top flounder angler, and he spent 15 minutes giving you techniques on how to catch flounder in Louisiana. I mean, who does that? I mean,
Berkeley swimming medal. Yeah.
and thank goodness he did, because I won that tournament, and I won it only because I got like a 19-inch flounder. And that's what put me over. Yeah, and that's what put me over the edge. So I was thrilled.
Were you using a double Berkeley grub?
Nope.
Swimming minnow?
Nope. I was using a friend of mine in Jacksonville, Jeff Altman. Linnea and I went out one day in that area in Jacksonville and just did some flounder fishing because I'd never done it before. And we did it before I went to Louisiana. And he gave me a couple techniques, kind of showed me where to find flounder, what to look for, what kind of passes. They like fast moving water, kind of like trout.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm in Louisiana. We're in Venice. Never fished Venice before in my life. It's blowing. I can't believe, I can't begin to tell you how it's blowing. And I have to use this freaking popping cord to put it through reeds. The reeds are like sugar cane. So you're trying to throw a popping cork with a shrimp behind it into the reeds. Well, of course, my popping cork would wind around one of the reeds and my shrimp would wind around the other. So I got really frustrated. And it was freezing. I had to get out in the mud to turn my kayak around in one of the creeks. So the guys, I had gotten my nice trout and a decent redfish. And the guys, we were all looking for flounder. And the guys go, well, we're going to try this other creek. And I said, fine. I said, I am freezing. I'm just going to sit here. The sun finally came out. It stopped raining and the sun came out. I said, I'm just going to sit here and warm up and, drink a Red Bull and have an apple and just kind of relax. Plus, that's the area that we found some overslot reds. And I thought, well, I'll just have some fun with the reds, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this one pass. And I'm sitting there and going, oh, that looks just like where we fished in Jacksonville. So I took a gulp shrimp. It was a pearl with a yellow tail. And I put it on a DOA short shank jig head. And I threw it up there, bounced along the bottom, nothing. Threw it up there again, bounced along the bottom, thunk. And it started to go backwards. You know how a trout goes, Well, that's what it felt like. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I might get big trout. I was so excited. And it's like I'm bringing it in and bringing it in. And it finally came to the surface. It was we called it the unicorn. It was that monster flounder. I missed it in the net 3 times. I finally got it. And my adrenaline between the Red Bull and getting this flounder, my whole body was shaking. That's what I felt like. And I sang a little praise song just to try to calm myself down and kind of thank everybody for my good luck. And just then the guys are coming around the corner and they're like, oh, look, Pam's singing hymns. Just turn around and see if she can catch a fish. And all I could do is point to the net and go, look. So that's what did it. I was just very, very fortunate. And I've been so blessed to have some great friends in the fishing industry. And I try to do the same thing. Every time I get a new native, I give my old native to usually a junior angler or somebody just trying to get into the business that doesn't have, the finances to turn around and get it. So that slayer was a custom slayer for me that I won Falling Tide in, and I gave it to a young woman. So she's got my custom made tournament winning slayer out there, and she's just having the time of her life.
That is awesome. You know, flounder have kind of a unique bite, and a lot of times they kind of throw me off because, you know, like, oh man, what happened? Did I lose my jig? And I'm pulling in, and oh, I got a fish. What the heck is this? It's coming towards me. It's going underneath the boat. They're just,
Yeah,
they're just a strange.
half the time I think I hooked a rock because they just thunk.
Or a stick, and the stick's coming in that way, you know.
Yeah. But they're fun. They're fun. There are not a lot of flounder in Tampa Bay. So it's not something I really target. And I'll be honest, when I go out to fish, I target, sorry, I'm holding my phone, so it's going all over the place.
Sure.
But the things that I target really are big reds and big snook. I've seen people that, hey, I caught 15 reds today. I go, cool. How big were they? Oh, 18 and 19 inches. And I go, oh, did you have fun with that? And there's nothing bad about that, you know, if that's what you want to do. But I'd rather get that one, 30-inch redfish and above. You know, I'll spend all day hunting for that big snook.
You know, I was fishing in Lake Calcasieu actually 2 weeks ago with a charter boat captain, Captain Tommy Adams from Fishing Tom Charter Boat Service. And this guy was using a 1/4-ounce jig in just really heavy current, and there were rocks on the bottom. He had a big old nasty piece of dead shrimp on there, and he was working that jig. I grew up fishing in Wisconsin in water like this for walleyes, and there's no way. I tried to do it with a 1/4-ounce jig. The only way I could do it was with a 1-ounce drop shot rig. Thunk, thunk, thunk. And I finally caught some fish. But I caught a 39-inch redfish.
Nice.
I have not had a wrist workout like that. And you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is so
underneath. Another jig that's really good for something like that, and they're, I think, out of Texas, and it's called Bugs, Buggs. And especially if you have tailing redfish or kind of redfish that really you're having a hard time getting them to eat. The guy who makes these is an incredible gentleman, definitely family man, just a great guy. And the jigs look like flies. It's basically a fly for the spinning bait, the spinning cast user instead of the fly guy.
I'm going to write this down, Pam. What was the name of that jig?
Bugs, Buggs. They're amazing. Yeah, they're in the car. I'm sorry. I should have brought some out for y'all to see. My bad. But look them up.
I wrote that down. He might just be coming on the show.
No, he's so sweet. He's so humble. I mean, a great person.
That is so cool. But I was so impressed by this guy with the way that he could work a jig, because I mean, I've met other people like walleye fishermen who could work an 1/8-ounce jig in heavy current in a river 25 feet down.
Wow.
How do you? The only way I've ever been able to do that is just be going backwards, and I'm sitting there with, watching my locator, and the guy in the back of my boat is watching for boats so we don't run into anybody. And I'm just kind of keeping it straight, trying to keep us, even with the current. Because if you're going even with the current, you can dig in 25 feet of water. But, quartering it like this, that is not easy to do. But, the redfish are right up there. It was a control structure, and you had to cast right up in there and bounce it off the back of the control structure and let it go down 8 feet and work it back. And man, when a redfish took it and stuff like that, you don't feel the bite, but you feel the fish running.
I know, it's kind of a funk. Yeah, the fish that hit, the 2 redfish that hit today were really weird. I was in pretty skinny water, and I was using that K-tail, and both of them hit like thunk. And almost, if you fish snook, it was almost like a snook bite. And then they dug into the grass.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They didn't run. They just dug. It was the weirdest thing today. I don't know why, but it was just really weird.
That is weird. Usually they power through the grass and you can see them.
No, they were trying to get the lure out of their mouth. They were like rubbing on the side. But it was a good time. I mean, if you can get out and fish, take the kids out. Even if you use a piece of shrimp under a float, Go do that. It's so much fun.
So many guys, more fish are caught in the near shore waters in the salt on live or dead shrimp underneath a popping cork than anything else.
Now, you want to have a discussion on popping corks? I was blessed to be able to sit with the nephew of one of the guys who invented the Four Horsemen when I was in Grand Isle for the IFA one year. And we probably sat for a half hour and had a discussion of what is a popping cork and what is not a popping cork. Now, there's floats out there and there's popping corks.
Well, floats are just something to suspend your bait. Popping cork is the presentation.
Right. Well, and it's made a certain way. For redfish, it's a concave top. Okay, usually with two rattles on it. And for trout, it's kind of oblong because they both make different noises. So that would be for redfish.
Yep, there's a trout. Oh, come on. I have so many rods here. They always, fishing line, anything that fishing line can get tangled up in. Right.
And they say women aren't organized. I'm just saying, guys, they say lady anglers aren't organized. And look at him out there.
I'm so disorganized. Right there is that's a trout popping cork.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you.
But, I have caught lots of, the fish don't know the rules.
No, it's just a different sound. The sound that the oblong one makes is more of a swoop sound that a trout makes when it sucks from the surface. And the sound that the concave one makes is more of the sound of a redfish hitting bait. That's all.
I call it a dinner bell. Dinner bell. I like to put this underneath a popping cork. This shrimp bait. This is the Mojo shrimp.
Okay.
This is actually my favorite lure. See, look at the hook on that thing.
Nice.
It's heavy enough to be able to hold a 40-inch red, but also it's small enough that a 13-inch trout can also bite that.
You want to hear a funny story? The last time I was in Louisiana, we were fishing with a group of friends. We went there for a long weekend. We called it Redtopia. And one of the local guys, I think we were at Pack. And one of the local guys said, hey, listen, because I had a chartreuse chatterbait with me. And he goes, that's just for redfish. And I went, really? He said, yeah, trout won't hit a chatterbait. Now, this is a guide. I go, okay. Well, guess what the first fish I caught?
A giant trout.
On a freaking trout on a chatterbait. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. And I asked him, I go, can you tell me what this fish is? Because I caught it on a chatterbait and I know it's not a redfish. And you said it absolutely couldn't be a trout. He started laughing. He goes, only you, Pam, only you would do the opposite of what I tell you to do.
Having me been a guide for 17 years, I stopped telling people that you will not catch any fish on that. My nephew took me fishing out in one of my favorite places down around Dularge, Louisiana. So he likes to catch catfish. He put a big old nasty piece of trout or nasty piece of shrimp on and threw it out in 17 feet of water, 2 feet down under a popping cork, and just let it, And I'm like, shut up, Jay. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Next thing I know, I turn around and his rod is bent over double. He's got a redfish. I'm like, that redfish does not know the rules. It doesn't know the rules.
Exactly. Well, here we have on our bottom, we have what's called turtle grass. And it's like St. Augustine grass in your yard. It's that thick bladed grass. And every summer it tends to die out and floats on the surface. So me being a topwater junkie, it really hurts me because I can't use my topwater. I mean, and you've got grass all in the trebles. Yeah. So it's really frustrating. So I took a Z-Man paddler, okay? Yeah. And I put it on my hook and threw it in, and I was catching trout after trout after trout. And the guys were like, Pam, what are you doing? So I said a Z-Man paddler. So the guys put it on and they go, we're still not catching anything. So Skip paddled over to me and he looks at it. He goes, She's got it on upside down. Okay, I'd only been fishing like a month maybe. I couldn't figure out if it's right side up or I just learned how to tie knots, right?
Yeah.
But we all carry radios. On the radio, he's laughing. She goes, she's got it on upside down. So I get on the radio and I go, and she's catching fish.
Yes. That's the thing about fishing. It's not an exact science. As soon as you think you have them figured out, the fish will teach you differently. The only absolute I've ever known about fishing is you're absolutely not going to catch anything sitting on your couch.
That's right, where I am. But
Yeah.
and it's very humbling. It's very humbling. One day you can be on the top of the world, and the next day you don't catch anything, and people are looking at you like, "Whoa, what happened?" I go, "Wasn't my day." I don't know what to tell you. Just wasn't my day.
Or I'll take 8 guys on a fishing trip, and we'll get skunked. Jay, I thought you knew how to fish. Well, I don't.
That's why I will never be a guide. I will never be a guide because it makes me too nervous. I was a mortgage banker for 38 years, and I use fishing as stress reduction. And a couple of the native pro staff called me up and said, "Hey, listen, we're coming to your area and we want a snook." And I'm like, "Oh no." I was so nervous until they actually caught one. And my problem was, I said, "We'll start with topwater." They would turn around and try to hook set them like they were catching bass. So I had to yell at them every time. It's not a bass. And I mean, I saw a snook go flying through the air, and I had to keep yelling at them. You're ripping it out of their mouth. They're not a bass. They're not a bass.
That's why.
But they finally got it.
When I was guiding, I told a couple guys, I brought my bandana. I am going to tie this around your head over your eyes. Because what's going on with your lure is none of your business. None of your business. You wait till you feel that, not a thump, you feel that bang. Then you set the hook. Do not set the hook until you feel that. Because when you see that fish blow up, the first instinct's like that. Well, then you're just going to have trebles flying back at your face.
Exactly. That's a good point. And I'm glad you brought it up. And people laugh at me because they watch me and it's the truth. I have a great hookup ratio on topwater. A couple of my friends are amazed at my ratio. But what I do is what you just said. I don't look at my lure. I look around for mullet, because where there's mullet, there's usually redfish. I look for wading birds. I look for ripples in the water, something different. Why I'm bringing in my topwater, okay? Because the second you can feel if you hit a piece of grass. But if I see, because the redfish will usually come up and you see their head coming at it, and I get all nervous and I get shaky and I'll do something stupid. But if I don't see it, you can feel it hit. And all I do is drop the tip of the rod, pull it to the right, and start reeling. And once I know that fish is on, I might give it an extra little jerk to make sure that the fish is hooked, and then I just fight it. And I usually use a fairly light drag, unless I'm fishing docks.
Do you ever use these for redfish?
Like a whopper plopper?
Yeah, that's what this is.
I might take one to Nolan's with me, but Tampa Bay is probably the heaviest fished area, point blank, except for maybe Key West. We have gin clear water, and we have hundreds of guides, and they use a lot of bait. So we have the spookiest redfish. Louisiana, I can throw a topwater and have a redfish hit at the boat. Tampa Bay, I can be 50 yards away and drop a soft plastic in the boat and watch the school pick up and leave.
Yes.
So I think a whopper, I might do something like that. And Z-Man has a Z-Tech that has, it's like long and skinny. I might take one of those to New Orleans also. But I also have another little trick. Sibyl made these, and unfortunately with COVID, he couldn't get his lures out of Australia. Sibyl, Mr. Patrick Sibyl.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
He started a company called Band of Anglers, and they made a Oh, I just lost my thought. They made a lure that you can't get anymore, and it had like a flash behind it or a little blade behind it. And it was I won so many tournaments with that. So now I've been experimenting with paddle tails, cutting their tail off or waiting until a puffer fish eats the tail and then putting a blade back there. And it is one of the most effective lures that I use. Have you ever heard of it?
One day,
Dark spin. That's what he called it.
Dark skin?
Dart?
Okay, no, I've never heard of it, but I have heard of Sebile lures.
Yeah.
Dart spin. I've never heard of it.
Okay.
I did one day. We ran out of swimming mullets, and I was fishing out of Mississippi at Bay St. Louis, and we were catching some decent sized trout. So I took one of ours that we threw on the bottom of the boat that had a tail bitten off, and I wacky rigged it and threw it out there. It was white, and I started catching, and it was just so I was wacky rigging part of a swimming mullet.
Mm-hmm.
It meant I started catching trout on that. So my buddy did the same thing, and he started catching trout. It's that kind of innovation that pushed.
Exactly.
It's just necessity, I didn't want to stop catching fish. It wasn't that cold. It wasn't that hot yet, and we were already out of bait. And damn.
Yeah, that's why fishing can be so much fun. It's mix match, be creative. Yes, I would say if you're beginning, start with the norm. Start with what the local tackle shop is telling you. And I mean no disrespect to the big box stores, but if you really want true advice, go to a mom and pop. Our shop, everybody fishes, and most of us tournament fish. We have offshore guys, we have bass guys, we have inshore people. Those are the people that are going to tell you the truth. Plus, we have a lot of captains that come in, so we hear a lot of what's going on, in the area. And that's probably some of your best advice. Or if you're brand new to fishing, I can't say this enough. It's worth the money. Hire a guide. If you want to use artificials, look for a fly guy. I know that sounds funny, but I've had so many, and no disrespect to the general captain out there. And I know the captains want to put you on fish, so they will use bait. But if you truly want to learn artificials, look for a fly guy, because those guys know how to hunt. They know how to present a bait, because that's all they do. And the learning curve. Yeah, you will learn so much during that trip. And the other trick is make sure that you make the guide fish with you. And I know that sounds funny, right? But when I hire a guy, I tell him straight off. I said, listen, you're going to be fishing with me. Oh, no. I said, well, then I need to find another guide, because you learn so much. Just the rhythm or the cadence of how he moves the lure. He can tell you how to do it, but until you watch him do it and you watch the lure move and you see what he's aiming for, you see how he throws it, or she,
how does he hold his...
You learn so much.
Man, I can't. Wow. That is exactly what I tell people, because I was a guide for almost 2 decades. And I would tell people, why should I hire you? Because I will take 3 years off your learning curve. You talk to me the whole time. Don't sit up there. Make me fish with you. Watch how I hold my rod. Watch the cadence of this. Tell me how do you want to catch fish? Chances are I've caught thousands of fish doing that. I fish every day, man. And I work full time, man. I never stop. And you want something done, you give it to a busy person.
Exactly.
I will teach you how to do it. And if you have a guide I have hired guides, and they just stood there in a boat. Dude, talk to me. Tell me, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't I catching fish? Oh.
Well, see, the other thing about having the guide fish with you is you super make them accountable. Now, there's days I go out and I can't catch anything except seaweed. Okay. Yeah. That happens. But if you have a guide out there, if I don't catch anything, shame on me. If he doesn't catch anything, shame on him or her, But those happen. You can't expect to get a boatload of fish every single day. I mean, you have moon
Yes.
phases, you have tides, you have weather conditions, you have high fronts. High fronts are tough to fish under, but yeah,
And
definitely,
there's
definitely
some
go
days
out
I
there and
don't know
hire a
why
guide.
there have been days I have no idea why the fish aren't biting. They're just not biting. They're
Yeah,
just not biting. And I would tell
and
people I'm a fisherman. I am not a magician. I can't make it happen.
exactly, exactly.
I
And then
can
there's
tell you that if I'm not catching fish, neither is anybody else.
yeah, and then there's days where every single cast, it's like you can't do anything wrong.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm really good at? And I'm
What's that?
known. I'm so good that I'm known throughout the bay. If you're ever going to go dock fishing and you need a partner for dock fishing, oh, that's me. That's totally me. Oh, look who's back. I have caught the biggest docks in Tampa Bay. I have caught some of the biggest motors. I've gotten a couple sailboats. Oh, I want to tell you, ropes. I'm especially good at catching ropes and pilings.
You ever had?
Jay,
You ever
I
caught the
hate
anchor of a Karen?
I hate dock fishing. I hate it.
You know,
So that's what I was doing today, just to do it.
They're minding your own business, and somebody comes out there and starts screaming at you. You can't fish by my dock. Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Yes,
I just
I can.
I don't even argue. I've had that only happen twice in my life, and I just wave and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that the water was private property. I'll move on. Don't worry about it. Nice to meet you. You know,
Just watch
life's
out in
too
Louisiana.
short."
A lot of our water is private property, so
Yeah,
be
in
careful.
Louisiana.
Louisiana's a strange state. But it's 41 after the hour, Pam. I have had so much fun talking to you. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
do you have any shout outs you'd like to do?
Oh yeah, I mean, one of my best sponsors in the whole world, Native Watercraft. That boat is an American boat. It's made in Asheville. That is a great, great boat. I've really never had much of a problem at all. Upkeep is so easy. Daiwa, my rods and reels are beautiful, and I just love them.
I love
I
I love Daiwa reels. I love Daiwa reels, man.
I have S&J just made me a custom rod that's what I caught my redfish on today, and it's really, really great. And I just bought a motor. Okay, I'm like, I'm kind of past the retirement age.
That's cool.
Yep. And lithium battery products are amazing.
Yes.
They turned around and made the couplings just the way I needed them, that they fit, because I don't like to use the little, how you put the little prongy things on top of the battery. I'm always afraid that I'm going to hit both of them together. So they made me custom couplets. I've never, ever had a problem with it. When I fished with some friends when we were in Louisiana for the Hobie qualifier, my partner's battery took all night to charge. Mine took less than 2 hours.
And yours weighed
and
a
we were
whole lot
both,
less.
and we were both running together, and we were both running our motors the same amount of time, and it weighs less. It weighs very, very lightly. So those are all great. And again, protect yourself. If you're not using, how many times have I been saved from getting a treble hook in my hand because I had my fish monkey gloves on?
Good Lord.
And in Florida, the sun is killer. So it's great, great protection.
Well, that's great, Pam. Yeah, I do like the lithium batteries. They're so light. And, man, protect your hands. Also, you want to protect your hands from the sun. I know I just had another friend of mine who had to get a melanoma cut out of his face. Ugh.
Yeah.
When we were growing up back in the 70s, all the boys ran around without shirts on. It's just what we did, We didn't. Yeah. I'm not going to say we didn't know, but we didn't care.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in South Florida and was on the swim team. What you did is you took baby oil and you sat out on the beach. You crispy fried yourself.
The brown bottles of Hawaiian Tropic. All it did was make your skin. It made you smell that way and made your skin shiny.
Yeah. Oh well, those days are over. But take care of yourself. And again, I hope everybody has a great Memorial weekend. And if you have somebody in the service, I know it's Memorial, not veterans, but please extend, your love and your gratitude to them. And if anybody has a fallen soldier, please, I send you my love.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Veterans Memorial Day. Is not Veterans Day. I am a veteran, so it's very close to my heart, And that's my service work. I help out veterans through what I do.
Awesome.
So, anyways, I had a fantastic time talking to you. I'm going to send you a link within a couple minutes, and thank you so much for your time, Pam. I know you're a very busy lady, and I appreciate you every time. Guys, when I came down there, Pam and I were going to try to fish together, and I told her I don't care if I don't catch fish. I just want to get out and fish in Florida. That's all I want to do.
It just didn't work out.
There was a hurricane barreling down on us, and it was a bad
true.
hurricane. They had already had a hurricane, so you guys already punched your card for the year. That's not even fair, man.
Oh, and they say we're going to get another year like that this year.
Oh, great.
So this, to be honest, this is the best time to come for redfish. Maybe a couple weeks earlier, but if you want big trout and big redfish, this is the time to come. And the tarpon are in. Tarpon are in, Jay. Tarpon and kingfish. So we got tarpon, kingfish. The big reds are in. The big trout are in.
I love big trout. Those are my favorite. I love big trout. Something about them. They're just, you can't horse a trout in. You got a sweet talker.
Yeah.
Like they come off and the big ones come off even. Oh,
they have such a thin mouth.
I don't want to talk about it. I've lost so many of them. It makes me feel like guy looking, what the heck, Jay? I don't know how to fish. I'm a fraud.
That it happens.
I don't know how to fish. Oh, it does. And anybody who tells you they never lost a fish is lying.
Yeah. What's tough though is when you lose them during the tournament.
I lost my personal best. It would have been my personal best largemouth bass. Oh, look at that. He wants his mommy. Look at it. You stay away from my mommy. I lost my personal best bass down here because my equipment was too light.
That's how I lost some of the smallmouth. So I didn't know that my rod was too wimpy.
Oh,
the guy it was so funny. All during practice, I killed it. I got my bag every time. First day of the tournament, I was right there, not knowing what to do. I was in the middle of the pack, and I reached back to put my rod in the rod holder through, motor memory. I dropped the rod right in the water. It was a certate. Grr. What? I think Oshie says it's time to go. Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, hey, Pam, I'm going to send you a link. Please share that.
Okay.
Please share that link. And we'll let Oshie go outside.
Okay. You guys take care. Thank you for inviting me. I had a good time.
Guys, thank you so much. And I'm going to end the podcast with that. Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you to everybody who watched the show. I love you guys.
Take care.
Have a good night,
Bye-bye.
Pam. And good luck this year. And good luck with your tournament.
Thank you.
Goodbye.